Thank you. Ian Reynolds, Community Unite. Unite Community, sorry. My dyslexia kicking in there. I'd just like to ask a question. Basically, I came across a very disturbing, I'll tell you what I actually saw, then you can actually comment on this as a question. I actually came across something very disturbing because actually handing out leaflets on sanctions by the DWP was quite disturbing. Some of the things I actually saw when it came to schizophrenics who were on their last benefit, having to go to food banks, and their last medication. I came across single mothers who didn't know where the next meal was coming from. Is there going to be a pledge from any party that, no matter who it is going to stop this madness? Because only in the long run is it going to cost more money, it's going to cost more, just more bureaucracy in the long term. What are you going to do about this? Because I'm sick and tired myself of having to come across people who are going to use, more food banks. Can you lend me a £5 or something like this? Thank you. Is this what we're coming up against? I'd just like to say at the same time, we're coming up to. I'd just like to say that I don't want to be in a society, quite honestly, where we are actually.
Can I bring you to a stop now, please? Thinking it wouldn't have survived that long on just a minute. Now, Nimit has not had as many bites at the cherry as others, so I wonder if you want to start off on this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's a really good question. Well, from the Green perspective, because I'm going to really do this from a party perspective, not a personal one, because I can really tell that this is quite a personal thing for yourself. The Green perspective is very much that we need to pump more money and more resources into things like mental health. And to be fair, I personally, and I know I've spoken to a lot of colleagues, we were almost gobsmacked at the fact that David Cameron couldn't even tell a few days ago how many food banks we have, how many people actually use food banks. And to be fair, I don't want a Prime Minister like that. I actually do not want a Prime Minister like that. And so, we as a party, we want to get rid of food banks, but not in the sense of, we don't need food banks. We want to lift people out of poverty. We want to make sure that they're getting things like a living wage, not a minimum wage. A minimum wage isn't actually anything, really. We want a living wage that people can put a bit to the side and say, okay, right, I'm going to be able to get a holiday, or whatever it is that they need to do. So parents don't miss meals, or they don't have to put their kids to bed on an empty stomach, and all these different things. And also, I said a few minutes ago on mental health, we really do need to work on preventative measures of mental health, and not this, you come to the A&E and we'll just fob you off, and then after 10 years we've got to pay 15 times more just to cure you. It shouldn't be about that. We should just be dealing with the issues as and when they come. We should have a more supportive structure, and a lot of that comes from the social care aspect. And we just seem to be chipping away on the budgets for social care, and we really do need to bind the social care and the general NHS together and make sure that it all works for everyone.
Thank you, Nimit. Right, Sundar,
yeah.
I think, and this is on sanctions, the specific point.
Specifically on sanctions, if I just cover the food banks issue as well. Thanks, Ian, for your question. The use of food banks has gone from about 10,000 people 5 or 6 years ago to about 350,000 people now under this government as it stands, the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats. This isn't party political point scoring, this is a factual point. For the first time, my family and I was raised in Beaumont East since the age of 7, and for the first time I've become one of the councillors for Beaumont East, and for the first time now in Beaumont East we've got a food bank. It's run at Christ the King Church, and I've been going there, I've been trying to help get them some funding and support. It's horrific, it's absolutely horrendous that we are such a massive global economy, a civilised, liberal, beacon of democracy in the Western world and all these things, all these wonderful traits, and that our people are starving, and it's, the other worst thing about it, it's almost not even said, it's the shame that comes with it. People are really ashamed of it. it's really difficult when you see people who've never ever had to take handouts or ask for food, and they have to come to politicians, they have to come to councillors or parliamentarians and actually try and get food to feed their children. It's a shameful indictment on this government, perhaps the most shameful thing about this government. I don't know how anyone could even begin to defend them on this point. When it comes to what the government does focus on, it focuses a lot, and certainly the right-wing press would have you believe that it's all down to the benefit fraudsters. It's all because of benefit fraud. Benefit fraud, firstly, the DWP, which goes after benefit fraudsters, on this particular point employs 3,000 staff. HMRC, who tackle tax avoiders, has about 300 staff, so there's a massive imbalance there. Benefit fraud costs the economy, costs our country £1.2 billion a year. A lot of money, £1.2 billion, half of legal aid. Tax avoidance and tax evasion costs us £120 billion a year. That's 100 times more. And where are the priorities for this government, for this Tory-led government with a cabinet of millionaires? Where are their priorities? Food banks, and that's the kind of big society Britain that they've created. It's a big load of rubbish, and for shame on the Liberal Democrats and the Conservatives for letting them get away with this and what this government's done. I'm appalled, and I'm sorry to hear about the circumstances that you talked about, Ian, and the people that you came across. It is shocking and it is shameful, and it really upsets me.
Thank you.